Hello and welcome back, folks. This is Arnie once more again, and today for another figure review. As we're running again around doing another of my many Godzilla figures. This right here is the 1993 Mechagodzilla, as we see during the events of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. And I'm actually finally glad to actually get one of these in my collection, because for like the longest time, I really didn't have any Mechagodzillas at all in my collection. The Kidio that I got was only like a recent purchase, like only like a couple years ago back. This is actually my second Mechagodzilla. I'm actually adding to my collection. This one's the 1993 one. And before even out of the box, it actually looks pretty nice. Even despite the fact that he's a relatively mass-produced figure. Besides that, he's actually looking pretty nice for like little mass-produced figures. He's also a little more smaller too. As most of the Godzilla figures I tend to get like around the regular 6-inch marks, because that's how they usually are, even back in the day, back in the early 2000s. This one here is a little much more smaller, around 5 inches, and a little bit much more smaller mass. As we'll see through when I actually do a little bit size comparison with some of the other Godzilla figures I do have. But yeah, overall figure looking pretty nice and pretty good. It's actually part of the Super 7 reaction figures line, which you're probably seeing a lot of these now on store shelves, especially at Target and Walmart for a lot of the more nostalgia factor for a lot of the franchises back in the day. You're seeing these a lot, like good examples like the He-Man, the G.I. Joe, and some more. Godzilla is also part of that too. And this line has a bunch of Godzilla characters as well. A lot of them from the Showa era, all the way back in 1955 and 54 was the original Godzilla and the original enemies. All the way to the more later ones being, well, the latest one being 1993 Mechagodzilla. So there's actually a different also line too of the Millennium ones, but it's a whole different line, which I was actually going to buy one, but I'll probably do that later down the line. But besides that, folks, let's dive right in with the unboxing of Mechagodzilla. And we are back, and now it's time to unbox this figure. And like I usually do with a lot of these figures, I like to tend to keep the box around. So I'm going to try to dissect this in the best way possible, try to see how we're going to do this. Granted, I could just like try to unbox it here and just do that, but that would just break the whole figure and the box. So with the mini X-Acto knife, I'm just going to cut the edges and just have the plastic slide out. I have to be careful not to hurt myself, because I'm not using my regular X-Acto knife. Using one of the other ones for my angle ones. Granted, I could do this a little bit much better and just rip the whole entire thing off. But I like to keep the artwork at least as tangible as possible. Then again, I can always just glue this back. I mean, it's not that hard. But we're just doing this. But like I said before, I like to make myself suffer. And if we struggle too much, I'm just gonna just rip it off, which I just might do. Oh, come on. Yeah, this is. Yep, sorry, I couldn't save the box. This is already hurting me. Oh, okay, good. I think it would damage the box. I just do some gluing on there and that'll be fine. I don't want to do that, but oh well. Should have used a better knife, but that's fine. Now we have Mechagodzilla out of the box. We'll just take them off the little plastic here. Oh, that's actually, not gonna lie, I'm actually doing the unboxing here. It's actually pretty small and tiny. I was actually, I know this is gonna be small, but I wasn't expecting I'm gonna be this smaller compared to my other Godzilla figures. Wow, he is. Okay, 1 second. 1, 2. I could have just done that, and actually ripped the holders thing there immediately. Wow, I was actually not expecting that. Whew, he is actually very small. Actually. Bring out the base one, because actually it's pretty tiny. I was not expecting him to be this little bit tall. Like with a cold right here. He is very small. He is very tiny. Actually, I think look, Gundam Astrea is finally taller than somebody else. That's actually funny, a little bit funny. Actually, how tall is he? I know Gundam Astrea is like 5.5 inches. Where's the measuring tape? He is 4.5. Wow, he is tall. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna say tiny small, because I have other stuff that is very small and tiny. But when it comes to like regular action figures, this is actually very smaller than I thought. It's almost the size of some of my Figmas. But like, yeah, when I was going to comparison when it comes to like, well, the channel's mascot, the Astrea, usually a lot of times it's smaller than a lot of the other stuff. But Mechagodzilla is actually very tiny and smaller. That's actually weird. Actually, be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I know I'm not supposed to, I know I usually do like size comparisons a little bit later in the video, but I actually do kind of want to do some like size comparisons first because of how small he is. First things first, let's go with how usually regular Godzilla figures are, at least size-wise right here. Oh wow, I really should actually adjust the camera size for this one because it's actually being, okay, there we go. So on the right, it's regular Godzilla figure. Usually those are around the regular 6-inch marks because that's how they're supposed to be it. As you can see right there, Godzilla's right there around the 6-inch marks. Right here, we have the Mechagodzilla figure from the revised Super 7. He's barely 4.5. You can see this. I mean, you can really see the contrast for this. How small and different these guys are right here. I was not expecting this much. And this is a regular Godzilla figure, how they should be. Especially back in the day in the early 2000s when I got these. Now let's go with some other stuff that will probably be on the same comparison right here. Actually, probably one doubt. Actually, we'll do the review of this one. Actually, there online. It's also a story one too, because it's actually something I found back. This right here is my Zilla. Yeah, that's right. I do have a Zilla figure from the 1998 Godzilla. I know people have things with the Zilla movie, 98 one, but it's still taking Cold Godzilla, the movie, for 98, but it's Zilla right here. There's one story I'm actually going to do later down the line. This is a flea market story I will tell later down the line for like maybe one of my stories. But right here, there's a little bit smaller, but then again, lengthwise, once it cold, Zilla's a little bit longer. And we actually have the tail stretched out. Zilla actually right there around 5.5, but its tail was a little bit more straight, 6, versus Mechagodzilla, going from the tail wise, is barely 3 inches long. But it is technically taller than my Zilla right here. But that's fine because the way he's crouched down, because Zilla's supposed to be a little bit much more what's it called, animalistic, you know, for those who know the movie. I will do a review of this one too, because actually it's a good story. It's actually one of my early story finds, especially flea market story find for those who want to know. A pretty good figure for this one. Go for some other smaller size comparison figures with my T-Rex and Indominus Rex from the Jurassic Park movie. These two are also perfect good find figures too, for those who want to know. These are actually from my trip to the Museum of Science and Industry when they were doing the Jurassic Park exhibit, and I actually got these. Another story I'll probably share later down the line was these two guys, because they actually were also finds there too, which I was happy about. Get shop finds, but they're good finds too. Like the Zilla figure, these actually around the 6-inch marks too. Longer than the Mechagodzilla, but still shorter, because what's called their smaller figures. And then because I am going to do shiny cards, I have my Blue Eyes White Dragon. Tiny Blue Eyes White Dragon, who's actually very smaller. It's actually probably around the same, at least, length when it comes to like the Mechagodzilla. Like barely around there, like same length for those, but a little bit more tiny shorter. And I kind of want to do this because it's kind of the same color, and that silver metallic they kind of have it in, which is actually not bad. Now going from like size comparisons, it kind of went out of order. I should do like articulation for this, because actually going to see how this guy looks, because not gonna lie, he's very shiny. As a new out of box figure, it's meant to be that shiny and whatnot. Well, the reflective silver is actually not bad at all, which is always good, because also this compare between gold and silver when it's like painted on or sprayed on. Silver's always had the better outlook than gold. Gold for some reason always been terrible, depending on how you tend to coat it. This one here is actually pretty good coat on the silver right there, which I do like. His head is able to move around, which is not bad. Probably, yeah, okay, yeah, we can spin the head. That's actually pretty nice. So the head can spin around, that's pretty nice. The arms can spin around, but that's as much as you can go. As the arms are movable for spinning around, which is actually not bad. Okay, his tail spikes are actually sharp. I was not expecting that, because I was just figuring out how they were going to be dull, but when I'm going through, they're actually very sharp. That's actually not bad. The tail cannot move, sadly. That's fine. The legs, kind of like with the other Godzilla figures, can spin around like that, but spin around at an angle. Let me show you. This is kind of how it is for a lot of the toys that are kind of like designed like this. I mean, they're meant to be moved around, but not to have that much movement. But overall, not too bad at all. Overall, pretty solid figure. But for the price for this, it's like, it really depends, because it's small. And back in the day, this toy actually would cost like around 10 bucks, 10, 12 bucks, 15 bucks at most. Pretty sure this was like 23, 24, 25 bucks. Target or Walmart, I forget where I got this, but it was like around 23, 25. I think altogether it was probably 25 plus taxes. overall for a small tiny figure. Nowadays it makes sense, because inflation and all that. But back in the day, in like the early 2000s, this would probably be 10 and 12 bucks, 15 at most. But overall, still pretty good figure, especially another Godzilla, Mechagodzilla to my collection, which I do pretty like. Overall, I do like the design. It actually has pretty good detail work. I was actually not expecting that to actually have that much good detail work. You can see right there on the chest and all that. The little detail work on the arms and all that. I kind of feel like this is supposed to have laser blades right here. It's supposed to have extra accessories, but we don't have extra accessories. So I kind of feel like they're kind of chipping out on weaponry, because I kind of feel like they're giving us some, for the price too, some like weaponry here for like some beam lasers or whatnot to come out of the arms. But oh well. Overall, the detail work actually is pretty nice. You can actually see all the detail work to etch into it. Even though it's silver, you can actually see where the edges, where the detail work actually goes for the legs and whatnot. Tail right there has pretty nice detail right there with the different edges of how the tail comes in together. Backside too. Those thrusters right here would be where the thrusters are at. They actually add a little bit more detail work. Back of the neck is pretty good. Overall, pretty nice. Actually, right there, you can see the detail work overall pretty good. Overall, pretty nice. The face sculpting is pretty nice. I can see right there. The yellow eyes is pretty good, and I kind of feel like they've probably done a little bit much more deeper yellow, but I would do say so myself. What I preferred right about the original Mechagodzilla for 93 is yellow, so I kind of feel like the yellow they could have used here is a little bit much more deeper, or they could have painted a little bit more. Like on the camera, the yellow's fine right here, but in like real life, the yellow could be a little bit much more better, if I'm going to be honest. Overall, the detail work for the head sculpting is pretty nice. You can see right there. Overall, pretty not bad at all. I think I actually do like that. Sculpting's overall pretty great. And we are back, folks, with more final thoughts. And overall, pretty good figure, if I do say so myself. Articulation is not that much. It's basically just basic up and down, left and basically up and down with the legs. Basically going up and basically spin around. That's pretty much just all you're going to get from the legs, which is not bad, since it's just basically just a regular toy that you're meant to play with. I will say the detail work for Ashley is pretty not bad at all. The metallic silver actually brings out a lot of the detail work. Really good. I was actually not expecting that. Like you can see right here a lot of detail work. Even before, like I didn't notice a lot more of the detail work like on the box, but not on the box. I already mentioned before the detail work actually does pop out pretty great, which I actually do kind of like. Overall, pretty great. I think the silver actually works pretty well. Letting all the detail actually pop out, which is actually one of the good things for this. Which is one of the good things for this too. Size for it is actually pretty small. It's actually, not gonna lie, it's actually smaller than I thought it was gonna be. It's actually 4.5 inches. That's smaller than most of my regular Godzilla figures. It's not the smallest. The Zilla figure that I did already show off, it's smaller than that, though it is longer, so there's like a compromise between that. But overall, I think it's still pretty good figure regardless. Price for it is like around 20 bucks, like 23, 25, with or without taxes, I think. Overall, still pretty good figure, and it's still good figure to add to your Godzilla collection, especially if we don't have a Mechagodzilla, especially if we don't have a 93 version Mechagodzilla like I didn't. This is actually my first 93 Mechagodzilla, so another Mechagodzilla to add to my collection. Now I just need to get myself the 74 ones, which I'll hopefully later, if I'm able to find them, maybe we got down the line, or just order them online through anywhere. Overall, pretty good figure, regardless. Another Godzilla figure added to my collection. But yeah, if you like the video, people, please consider dropping a like, share, and subscribe. I always do appreciate it, folks. And as always, have a nice day. This is I, Pardon, signing out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.